welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now this video I'm just going to be talking to you about how I believe I was able to achieve a first class in my mental health nursing degree. Now this is a question I often get asked and it's not really a straightforward answer. I just want to start off by saying that this video is not to brag. Every grade that you get in university is an achievement because university is not easy. At the same time, I know some people really want to achieve a first class because it makes it a lot easier to get into certain types of nursing, like research nursing. A lot of the times they require you to have a first class. Even to do a master's, some masters you have to have a first class. That's why I am doing this video. I think my first point is that I'm not one of those individuals that are naturally smart. Now, when I say that, I mean like I'm not someone who can just, go to an exam and ace it. It doesn't come naturally to me. I have to revise, I have to put in a lot of work, I have to organise myself, and I have to, spend a lot of time on whatever I'm doing in order to achieve that grade. So for example, let's talk about the academic side first. When it comes to uni, I learned that I worked best when I was well prepared. And I learned this quite quickly, luckily, so it was able to show in the grade that I ended up getting. But what I mean by that is at the beginning of the year, I used to find out when my assignments were due, and I would try and start them at least 2 months before they were due. That way I knew I had a lot of time to prepare. I would be able to balance everything properly. Because when I was in uni, obviously we had to do placement, we had to go to lectures, and also I had to work because I just didn't have a lot of money in uni, so I had to work. Had no choice. I had a car that I had to pay for as well, so I had to work. So I had to really learn how to balance things properly, and if I didn't master that, I really don't think I would have got a first class because I don't work well under pressure. I know some people work well, doing all-nighters the night before the assignment and they still get a first class, but that's not me. That's not the type of person I am. I work better when I'm well organised and I can just be stress-free and really research on what I need to do. Now, when it came to assignments, I would always make sure I get a book or something before I start the assignment that is related to what the assignment was about. So for instance, if I had an assignment based on communication, I went to the library, I got a book out on communication, and I would just read a little bit of it. And by the way, I hate reading, so I would never read the entire book, but I would just read a bit of it just so I could get in my head, okay, this is what communication is about, okay. And then I was able to start writing, and I was able to start flowing with it. Now, I'm not really going to go into depths on how to, master writing your assignments because I feel like the video will be way too long. But the main thing I would say to everybody, if you can master this, you will always at least get a 2-1 in your assignment. It's critical analysis, and to be able to do critical analysis, you need to think critically. Now, thinking critically means that you're able to look at a problem or an issue. It doesn't even have to be an issue, but to just look at something. So let's say, trying to think of something. Let's say it's schizophrenia. Does schizophrenia develop from nature or nurture? I don't even know if that sentence makes sense, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So if we looked at that, to think critically about that, you have to look at both sides of the argument. So you look at all the evidence for nature. So what I would do, if that was my assignment question, I would go and look at all the evidence I could find for nature. Now, when you're looking for evidence, you want it to be pretty new. So I always say no older than 10 years. That will make your assignment more up to date, which again will contribute to your overall grade. So you're going to look at literature that is within the last 10 years. And the way I used to look for literature, I would literally just type in on Google the question. I'll say schizophrenia is nature, and then it would usually come up with some books which mentions that, or a journal. Also, you can use loads of nursing databases that have nursing literature on. Leave the names on them on the screen because I can't remember them off the top of my head. I went to uni over 3 years ago. I finished uni over 3 years ago, so I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But yeah, if you use those databases as well, you will find some like studies that can help support that argument and things like that. Also, I've mentioned in another video, I loved using Google Books. So when you go on Google, you know, you've got search, and then you've got images, and then like news or something. There's another little tab that says books. So what I did, say if I was looking at whether schizophrenia is developed from nature or genetics rather, I would put that in the search bar, and then it would come up with books that had that particular phrase, and it just helped. It just saved so much time, because then I would know, right, I could get that book out of the library because that supports my argument. Or a lot of the times, if you clicked it, it would just have the whole page of it, and so you could literally get the page number. You wouldn't even have to get the book out of the library. And that's what I did for the whole 3 years. Yeah, so that's what you would do. You would get all your evidence that you can find for that side of the argument, and then you would get all the evidence for nurture, and then from that you are able to have an opinion that is evidence-based, and whatever point you end up making in the end, that point was developed from thinking critically, because you wasn't biased. You looked at it objectively, you looked at all the evidence, and then when you do look at your evidence, you also need to critique the evidence and say, you know, oh yeah, I found out that this book says that schizophrenia is developed from genetics. However, this was only based around individuals in the United States, and therefore it can't be generalized. So things like that, like to think critically, you literally have to, it's like having a sponge, and you're just getting every last bit of information out of it. You're trying to get every last point that you can possibly think of. Like if you feel like there's more that you can go, like if you feel like there's more points you can get out of it, then keep going. But obviously you want it to be relevant to your topic. But I hope what I've just said makes sense, because when I first started university, I actually failed my first assignment, and they said, you didn't look at this critically, you didn't critically analyze. And when I was reading up about critical analysis, I didn't have a clue what that was. Like, I didn't get it, and I was looking at videos and reading books and trying to understand what critical analysis was, and I just didn't understand it. So if what I said doesn't make any sense, then I really apologize, because I tried to explain it as well as I can. Book really helped me. I really suggest any students, whether you're doing nursing or not, it really helps you to write how they want you to write. And it does talk about critical analysis in here as well. So yeah, if I didn't make sense, check out this book, because this is the book that helped me to make sense. Proofread your work. So if you've got a friend in uni, get them to read your assignment, you read theirs, because when you read your own work, your own assignments, you will correct it yourself in your head. Like, you might have spelled a word wrong in your assignment, but because you're reading it back yourself and you've read it over and over again, your brain just changes it for you. So if you get someone else to read it, they'll be able to pick up on any errors that you have. So they can pick up on any grammar errors, spelling errors, anything like that. Because if you do have those errors in your assignment, it will bring your grade down. And that's something that I always struggled with. Like, I know a lot of assignments, they said you could have got a first, but because your grammar and blah, blah, blah. So that's something I really had to brush up on. How I helped myself with that as well is I used the student support at my uni. Now, I was quite, I know it sounds maybe a bit shallow, but I was quite ashamed to say that I needed help. I don't know why. I just thought, you know, I'm in this university and I'm going there to help me with my grammar. But honestly, it was the best thing I did, because they literally gave me loads of like links and loads of like, I don't know what you call them, but like it was like worksheets that just show you like it just had simple things like, say if I was trying to say moreover, but they literally listed all the words in the dictionary that had like alternative words that you could use for moreover, and just simple things like that, like not repeating words in your assignments, that takes you from getting a 2-2 to a first. Do you know what I mean? I think those are the main things on how to get a first in your assignment, like being organised, writing critically, and proofreading your work. So that's how I went from failing my assignments to getting a first on my assignments. So the other thing that brought me up to a first was my practical side, because obviously nursing is theory and practical based. So in nursing you have something called OSCEs, and those are your practical exams. So that's where you'd have to do blood pressure in front of an examiner, do aseptic techniques in front of an examiner, do CPR in front of an examiner. And if you don't pass those, I think in my uni you got 2 attempts. If you didn't pass that, then a lot of times you get kicked out, unless you got an extenuating circumstance. But yeah, so they were very important exams. But every uni will prepare you for these exams. They will have loads of workshops where you can just drop in. They'll have people from the uni there that will, you know, brush you up on your technique, like say, no, you need to, when you're doing CPR, you need to tilt the head a bit more. Don't forget that, because they'll fail you, this and that. So I always went to as many workshops as I needed before I literally perfected whatever technique that was. So whether it was blood pressure, CPR, I went to all of them, because there was people that never went to them and then they was wondering why they failed. So yeah, definitely go to your workshops, and if there's anything you don't understand, just ask, because you don't want to be that person who didn't ask and then you end up failing. So that's how I passed my practical exam. And then obviously we've got the actual written exams, and same thing like my assignments. I prepared in advance. I made sure I was organised. So I started revising from however far ahead I felt that I needed. So the written exam, I think I started revising a month before. And the way I revise, everyone revises differently, but for exams, the way that I revise is I would literally do a mock exam myself every few days, do like a mock exam of the exam that I was doing. And then after about 2 weeks of doing that, I would do it without my notes. And then, you know, or I just do it with like a few notes. So like literally just words, so that it's just prompts to make me remember. And then after that, I'll take the prompts away and literally just do it straight from my head. And that way, when I went into the exam, it just came from my memory, like reciting a song. So that's how I was able to get first in my written exam. We have a medication exam as well. The way I got first in that is the same. I'm not even going to repeat myself. Just prepare myself. I kept practicing the calculations and things like that. But with the medication exam, you get a lot of prep for that. Like, they really prep you for that. I wouldn't really worry too much about that. But I know some people really do struggle with maths. But like I say, anything you struggle with, speak to your personal tutor, because they will be able to explain it to you. Sometimes when things are explained to you on a one-to-one basis rather than in a whole classroom, you're able to get it better, and you're able to get it in your head. Then the final thing that contributed to my degree, which enabled me to get a first class, is my placement. I'll put the link in the description box of my previous video where I'm talking about how you can prepare for placement, because obviously that will contribute to you getting a good grade in your placement. But overall, placement is all about development. Like your first day of placement to your last day of placement, you're going to be like two different people. So it's all about learning and gaining confidence, and the more confidence you get, the more better you're going to perform on your placement. However, different unis are different. Like my uni, University of Nottingham, you could actually get a higher grade than the grade that you needed for placement. Therefore, it actually boosted up your overall grade. Some unis, it's just a pass or fail. But the way I was able to always score higher than what I needed in my placements, like I said, was making sure I always ask questions when I didn't understand anything. I would never not ask questions. I used to be like those people that would just keep it to myself because I didn't want to seem dumb. But I was like, I came straight to uni from college. I never worked in healthcare before. So there was things I was not going to understand, like simple things that people would think is stupid. I might have not understood. So I didn't care. I just asked questions. I asked the question and I got the answer. I'd write it down so I wouldn't forget it. And then the next time I came to placement, I knew what I was doing. And just by doing that, it really shows your mentor that you're willing to learn. And that's what being a nurse is about. Like, you're always learning. You're always learning. Look at this COVID thing. A few months ago, I didn't know how to test someone for COVID, but now I do. So that's the way I was able to get first in my degree. I hope this video makes sense. I hope you understand it. And I hope you get where I'm coming from. I just want to round up by saying the main thing for me was just being prepared and knowing what I needed to do, because it's going to be very difficult for you to get a good grade in your degree or even pass your degree if you don't know what you're doing. And if you keep things to yourself, then, you know, it's never going to turn out good. So just don't be ashamed to ask for help. Even if you think it's something stupid, just ask for help, because once you get that help, it's only going to better you. So yeah, that is how I got a first in my nursing degree. I don't know why I keep clicking, but yeah, that's how I got a first in my nursing degree. I hope this video helped you. If you want me to explain anything more in depth, just drop me an email or drop a comment in the comment section. Please subscribe. I've got more videos that are going to be coming out to help you guys nursing wise. And then obviously I've got the other side of me, which is the beauty side and the hair and the fashion. I'm not fashionable at all, but yeah, it just sounded cool when I said it. Anyway, I hope you found this video good and helpful. Bye.